Hey, what's up? I'm Luke.
I'm Evan, and we're in Dirty Skirty.
I guess I was kind of playing solo a little bit, and it kind of built from there. I was in a band with Evan previously. I was a drummer, and he was a guitar player. And just in this band, I'm the singer, and he's the bass player. That's kind of where it came from. And that was 3.5, 4 years ago. I think it was late 2007, I believe, around when.
We were in the process of writing the album and going into the studio and recording a couple tracks, then going back, writing, recording more tracks, and it was kind of a mix of going back and forth with writing and recording and financial.
Yeah, you don't want to say, oh, we got to have 12 songs or 10 songs for this album. You don't want to fill it up with 3 or 4, something you're really happy with, and just, bust out with a few more songs to have those tracks. I feel like there's no really filler on the album. And the reviews that it's gotten, I mean, they've felt the same way. So
Yeah.
surprisingly, there hasn't been any really bad reviews we've come across. Surprisingly, I think that it was what we really wanted to do from the get-go. We feel really fortunate that that was the case. Because I think a lot of the bands along the way, they lose their way, what they want to do, and they kind of try to follow the trends of what they hear. But we kind of knew what we wanted to do, and we did it. We came out with it, and we're happy.
I mean, as a whole, if you take the internet, it's a big push for us. It gets our album to places we can't go to as of yet, and it took us from locally to globally pretty quickly.
Globally, I think I'm much more happy with globally than anything else. It's like really exciting, because we get emails every day about the sales and everything, and there's countries I don't even know what they are. I have to text Evan. He looks it up to tell me what country the CD is sold in. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it. You go ahead and give your answer.
Well,
I have
yours all set up. Yeah, I mean, that's Luke and I grew up on this rock and roll idea of sex, drugs, and rock and roll with bands like Motley Crue, Aerosmith, Van Halen, and we've always lived by that idea, and now this is a time where we can show it and push it.
Except for the drugs. Yes, Dirty Skirty does not use drugs. Unless you consider alcohol a drug, then we definitely like it. But I think that's where some bands get lost, or some bands that never become real big bands, is they try to concentrate too much on excess and all that. And I think what it does all come down to is having a good time, enjoying life, celebrating with music. The most important thing you can't stray too much from when it comes to rock and roll and the lifestyle and everything is the music. So I think that the idea, people might think of rock and roll, like all excess and partying. That's, it is all about the party, because music is meant to bring the party out, right?
Right.
But just making sure the most important thing is the music is the most important one of the things when it comes to that. Well, my favorite movie as a child was Great Balls of Fire, about Jerry Lee Lewis, and if you're not familiar with Jerry Lee Lewis, he married his 13-year-old cousin. And
I don't know about
except for that part of the movie. I mean, that was funny. It's funny. But just his attitude. One thing I'll always remember from the movie, a quote from Jerry Lee Lewis, is his brother was a preacher. And he was telling him to get him to stop playing the piano, stop playing rock and roll music, play music for God. And he said, I'm Jerry Lee Lewis, and you can kiss my ass. So I've always had the kiss my ass mentality when it comes to kind of anything, because you can't make everyone happy. As long as you stay true to yourself, that's what's really important.
Yeah, I grew up listening to those bands because my father listened to those bands, my brother. So it started with Bruce Springsteen in the 70s, and then it kind of turned into Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, and that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of my background on music, and I've kind of stuck with that throughout the years, and now with Dirty Skirty is the time to take my childhood and bring it to today.
Yeah. The 70s and 80s, that was when the real rock and roll was, and there's still bands right now that are doing it, but
Yeah.
I think it's pretty saturated. you know, too many people straying too far from what rock and roll is really all about. So. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, Dirty Skirty, you know, what is that?" You know, they see the sticker on my car, the decal on my car, or whatever, and I say it's the band I'm in. And eventually, if they hear the music, they'll come back and be like, "That's the perfect band name for you guys," you know. And it is, the album from start to finish is kind of it's a sleazy album. It's, you know, you talk about drinking and women and having a good time, and sometimes bands don't talk about the good times, you know. This album is meant to bring you up. Yeah, the true times, exactly, is right.
How we live in.
And you know, we are together. We get a chance to go out. You know, we did a lot. We did a lot of good times together. You know, the more the music is, the louder it is, the drunker we are, the better the times were, and it's just all about just celebrating with the music. But as far as sleaze rock goes, I mean, I think there should be a tour. I mean, one of my favorite bands is Buck Cherry, and I think ideally, a dream would be to be on tour with Buck Cherry and have David Lee Roth driving the bus, and that would be the sleaze rock tour. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Right now, I think right now is Buck Cherry. Yeah, right now, October 2010, Buck Cherry is the king of sleaze rock. So. I don't know. What about you?
I would go with Motley Crue as the king, but that's kind of the throwback idea.
They still
got it.
They're on hiatus for a few minutes right now, I hear, but yeah. I think it's kind of like trying to have lunch with your ex-girlfriend. Maybe it's not a fun time. It's difficult. Basically, gas prices have gone up, and the demand for live music has gone down, and just like the saturation of bands has gone up, and just like you know, it's rough because you lose money almost all the time, you know. And
when you don't have a backing of a label and you're doing it independently, it's really stressful. It's tough to do. It's basically a 24-hour job of booking shows, pulling merchandise, selling everything. Yeah. I mean, it's tough, but I give it to Luke for doing a lot of it.
We played a few shows.
I mean, over the year, we've done it for
I like to stay on
3
top
or 4
of people,
years.
Literally. It is worth it. It is worth it. I'm still happy. If we never sold an album after today and we never played another gig, I'd still feel like I accomplished, you know, what I set out to.
Well, we take the stress and you know, we push it on stage, and that's where we get our fulfillment with shows, with our sales, with fan response on everything. Yeah. And you know, currently it's going great. So it's like we're taking that stress and kind of evolving it into fulfillment.
Exactly. We text message each other for encouragement. To reach as many people with our music as we possibly can, short and long term. Really. Anything specific? I don't know. You might want to answer that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say the short term and long term goal would be the same: to push the music, to play shows, to rock out, to do what we've set up to do, what we've dreamt of as kids until, I mean, even today.
And to play live in the Conan O'Brien show would be great. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the album right here. You can get this on cdbaby.com/dirtyskirty. When you open it, the great thing is the 2 best looking people in the band are right there when you open it up. So please help us buy this album so Evan can eat something other than ramen noodles. Hi, I'm Luke with Dirty Skirty.
I'm Evan. You said it again.
Oh, what do I know again?
You just say hi, I'm Luke.
So who's going to say Dirty Skirty?
I'm going to say Dirty Skirty.
Okay.